your tickets. Oh my god, with that I forgot to press record of the video. Anyway, so at least we got an audio recording. So you know what, that's completely thrown me. Shallow. Someone, I'm sure, write a summary of what that was. So tomorrow night you'll receive your tickets probably by email, and it's going to be from one of the team members. Okay, very likely to be Ruhi. Okay, and so therefore, just make sure you keep keep an eye on your what's it called, your spam and junk, whatever. That's the Americans. For the rest of all of the Londoners have already received theirs, but the rest of us, we will be receiving our tickets by email, I've been told, directly from Saudiya or Nusuk, or however it works, or Saudiya, I think, over the next, not including tomorrow, so either on Monday or Tuesday. That's when we can expect it. When that email comes, you can try everything that you can online, okay, and using the emails. But what I have been told is that you won't be able to do any changes, you won't be able to do any editing until you get to check-in. We've been told that upgrades are only available at check-in, and that's across the board. How likely is it you're going to get it at check-in? I was explaining to someone today on the phone. It is really important that you realize that the flights that we have had purchased, for us, are top dollar regular scheduled flights. This is really important for you to understand as well, the flight game. A lot of people become masters at the end of Hajj on these things. That, sometimes in Hajj season, because it's such a busier time, the companies themselves, they charter planes. And a chartered plane, they rent basically a plane that's not theirs. They don't even bother sticking a label on it, and they put minimum staff on it. And its quality is much poorer. The food is much poorer. It's all one class. It's all about packing a plane in. And the most important thing is that it's not scheduled. And if it's not scheduled, then it's a risky purchase, because it needs to then apply to the airport to have a license for landing and blah 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 blah. Now, those tickets are of course much cheaper. These guys went and bought all of the regular scheduled flights. Why? Because they are more certain. They're more likely to be able to, there's no doubt about them. They're scheduled, they're going whether there's one person on it or 300 people on it, right? And they've already got the authorization, they've already got the license, and the price is sky high. They have business class as well, but then they also are not Hajj charter flights. They're regular flights. And the Saudis are day and night traveling. Saudis are using that all the time. And Saudis, they're not the kind of, they're not Bandus and Pakis like me and you. They're business class, first class all the time, especially when they go to New York, especially when they go to London, Toronto. They aren't doing cattle class like the rest of us. And so, therefore, I'm just saying that your expectation should be super low when it comes to expectation, to thinking that there's going to be first class and the like. All right. So we've heard the message back from Saudiya that you have to do it on the thing. Is it permissible to wear a compression bandage on the ankle during ihram? Yes, it is. No problem at all. And to make tawaf like that as well. Okay. I am going to put that as a mark. Are we allowed to use mint flavor toothpaste and floss in ihram? Flossing is no problem, and any flavor toothpaste is permissible. Not a problem. You mentioned taxis. Yep, I'll speak about that. That's not relevant now. The taxis will become important to talk about over there. Just in general, I want you to know that if a taxis are going to charge crazy prices. For example, they will charge like 500 riyals for a ride that 3 days earlier is going to be 50 riyals. Okay, so 50 riyals is about 10 quid. 500 is 100 pounds. 100 pounds, yeah. And if you don't have 4 people to share with you, then that's you paying 100 quid by yourself. If you've got 4 people, which you will have, that's 25 quid. If you're asking me on the key days when you need a taxi, which is on the way back to Azizia and to Mina, on the thingy, if you get it, you are 100% catching a taxi. And we will train you on that, okay? We will train you when, how, who, what, everything. We will deal with that. Okay, I booked my Roda slot for May 25th, but I realized that I would be at the end of my menstrual cycle, so I canceled my booking. I was going to rebook, but it won't not let me. Anyway, if it won't let me rebook, what is the solution? So listen to me carefully. Because of the flight rejigging and everything, we've had to rejig also the itinerary. And now you know why we don't release an itinerary, okay? And now you also know why that even when we release the itinerary, it's going to be changing every day and whatever, because all of these things happen live in real time. So in about 4 or 5 days time, the itinerary will be released so that everybody is clear and whatever. There'll also be a salah plan for everybody as well. That's why we didn't do that early, because now it's all changed for everybody. Now we have to do, and it, crying in my eyes out now, not just 3 salah plans, but 17 salah plans. And the Rawda plan, we have put in the Rawda section our recommendations. On the whole, folks, you're not really changing what you've got already. On the whole, the key change was to make sure that you're not doing it after Isha on the 26th. That was the most important thing. And even after Maghrib for the men, because that was a time to go and eat. And most of you dealt with that in the last couple of weeks. You need to know that you're dealing with Saudi Arabia, who are the most useless and the most unreliable authorities and people and whatever on the planet. And they change systems day and night. So for the longest time, meaning the last couple of years, they've had this policy that anybody that has done the Rawda within the 365 days cannot do it again. And that was in play. Then they lifted it and everyone was celebrating and people were doing it multiple times in the trip that they were in Medina and people were booking it, whatever, whatnot. And they've implemented it again. And implementing it again, we don't know. Is that a mistake? Is it temporary? Is it something that's going to be lifted for Hajj? Blah, 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 blah. You can never make a plan based upon Saudis. That's why you will see me throughout the Hajj planning to do things that is not depending upon others, even if it's Al-Bayt, even if it's but Hajj authorities or Masjid authorities or whatever, no. We will try to take as much out of their hands and try to take as much control as we can. That's why you will see us try to walk everywhere, because if you rely upon taxis and buses and coaches and this kind of stuff for your plan, right, your plan is always going to be weak. If you build your plan upon that which is certain, which is you, which is my planning, my execution, my fitness, and using your own feet, you will never fail at Hajj. You will always have a successful base. And the great thing about building your plan and strategy upon that is that when the ease comes, we grab it with both hands. If the coach is there, we're jumping onto it. If a taxi presents itself, we're taking it. But the plan has got to be based upon that which is certain and which is in your control, right? And so when it comes to the things like the Rawda, all right, we are we have no control because Saudi are changing the plan all the time. So all I can say is the following. I would be advising people right now not to change their Rawda bookings. If you have a private Rawda booking, even if it's been significantly affected by the new flight that you're coming in, as far as I know, I don't think anybody is completely going to miss it, right? But there is one flight that might, depending upon what happens in terms of their arrival, might be a bit tight, okay? But you still stick to your booking, even if that means you landing in Medina and you going straight to the Rawda, even if it means that, okay? So just putting that out there. Now, knowing that, we will be approaching Al-Bayt and telling Al-Bayt that please can you arrange for us a group booking. A group booking meaning that a single or maybe a 2 or whatever block booking where we can take the men that were not able to get in either because their app wasn't working or they had some kind of problem or the time, whatever, or they got kicked out because of this 360 rule. Also trying to get a female booking and then take the ladies that, as the questioner says, wasn't able to, can't get into it, got some problems, whatever it is, you get an opportunity to go with that group. And you go as a group. The sisters will go and the brothers will go. Does this happen all the time? No. Can we depend upon it? No. Is it there in the background? Yes. Have we requested it? Yes. Are Al-Bayt aware that of all the groups that need to be hooked up, is ours need to be as well? Yes. Al-Bayt said to me today, just so that you are aware, only a few of you know this, okay, because I've been speaking to people on the phone, that the arrivals into Jeddah, because they recognize that it's a more tiring journey than what was happening before. They said that any person that, no, not in person, sorry, they said every person will be given a hotel. I want you to listen to this. A hotel. I told you this guy before. I was speaking to the head of Al-Bayt. This guy is a, the main guy that I actually decided to stay with Al-Bayt for the last couple of years, because when it comes to the action times, and I gave you his story personally. I told you about his story before Hajj, when the guy didn't get the visa and he was told by Umar Akbar, the head, go back again to the embassy. Don't worry about it. I'll get you a new ticket. And he bought him 3 consecutive tickets on the proviso that a Saudi embassy in London were going to give him the visa in the morning. And he was then he bought the ticket directly on the phone each time, new one. And he went on a Monday and he bought him a ticket. We're in Medina now. And he went on the phone to him and saying, just go again then on a Tuesday. And he cancelled that ticket, lost all the thing. He bought another ticket for him on the Tuesday, bought another ticket from him on the Wednesday. And on the Wednesday, we said, listen, bro, this is done. We're now going into Mecca now anyway. That's it, write it off. This is also one of the reasons why, I put in travel insurance as a recommendation, Islamically and logistically as well. I know this guy. What did he say to me? He goes, listen, you tell your Hujjaj that there will be a hotel and that we will be every possibility of any flight as the priority. And then if not the flight, then the train for anyone that's arriving in Jeddah will be arranged. Okay? And I said, Jazakumullah khair, I appreciate that. I really do, blah, blah, blah. Knowing deep in my heart that I could not imagine anyone in my group taking that option, because the Medina part of our program is essential. For other programs, it's just, you're left alone, right? In other Hajj packages, you're still not going to see anybody at any time. Because what do they say to you? They say to you, well, I mean, this is your hotel and you're literally in front of the masjid. Just keep going back to the front of the masjid. That's it, right? And, it's very minimal. The exact opposite for us. Medina is completely packarood. From the second you arrive it's all action, all this, that, going this, that, and not just pointless stuff. Very important in order to build up what needs to be built up before the Umrah and then before the Hajj itself. And if you think that and what was his point? He goes that they can rest there until the next flight and train is available. Until the next flight. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, if there's no train available and flight available when you arrive, then there's very little chance of it being available at the same time next day as well. And all we're doing is missing valuable time. It's a no-brainer. You jump into whatever it is. If there's someone that, doesn't want to be in a bus, they'd pay 20, 30, 50 quid and jump into a taxi and get themselves to Medina. If they are really, really all about tiredness and the things like that. At that time, person's got to be thinking at that level. So I just want you to appreciate that from their side, they will do whatever is needed. But the way that and as a result of that, they are very, very aware that they're going to make sure that in Medina, that they try their best to speak to the authorities. And it is a wasta kind of thing, behind the scenes, all this kind of behavior to try to get a group booking. And if that happens, then all the people who failed, then they'll be covered, inshallah. So you can't depend upon this, make it clear, disclaimer. However, please do not cancel your booking or try to change your booking if you are a person that has been to Umrah in the last 365 days. If this is your first time, if you've never used Nusuk before, if you haven't been to Medina for a good few years, absolutely you should go and look at the availability of the recommended times and change it. But if you have been, don't risk it, because you will not be able to rebook, or there's a risk of you not being able to rebook because the system is now updated and now the new rule is in place. Whereas if you're holding a booking and you got it before the system changed, you want to hold on to that booking just in case it's cancelled. All right, hope that makes sense. In the video about Ihram, you spoke about perfuming yourself and focusing more on the concept rather than over scrutinizing the detail. Giving the example of scented wipes. Obviously, it's preferable to use non-scented products, but most sanitary products for women are scented. So using the logic described, I would assume using scented sanitary products are fine, as they are not for the purpose of perfuming oneself and would not be detectable to others. So I just want clarification. So here's the thing. If that was true, I would agree. Except that whenever anybody uses a scented wipe, everybody can smell it. I can smell it. And I have the worst sense of smell, right? And everybody else can smell it. It is something, I have to tell you, that I feel far more wary about than using scented soap. Scented soap, when a person washes their hands, is intentionally very dilute. And you cannot smell it. I can tell you that every day when Hibba comes home from school, she says, I wash my hands. I go, you lying little rat. And what does she do? Does she do anything other than puts her hand in my face? That's what she does. She puts her hand on my face, and I have to sniff it proper hard. She goes, see? And then I go, okay. She doesn't say to me, look, and I can smell. You can't smell scented soap. You can't, right? Unless it's like the expensive stuff. So, but a scented wipe, you can smell miles off. My opinion, you should avoid it. My opinion, all scented products and sanitary products. Obviously, sanitary products in the area is being used. That's something different. For that, that's the same as the deodorant, because deodorant is not the same as EDC or de parfum, which itself is being put on the skin, and it is allowing the alcoholic content is allowing to be evaporated, and its sillage and its carry is being seen by all. Whereas a deodorant with a closed arm under 2-3 layers of clothes, a bit of scent is not actually gonna get out, right? I mean that just in general, just as a concept. So I want to say that there is no doubt that sanitary products do not come on the general rule of the outside, but in principle, you should avoid the scented products, whatever form or whatever they are. All right. And so our luggage will be taken the night before. If we have a cabin suitcase, can we keep this with us? Absolutely. You will have to be keeping a cabin suitcase with you. We'll explain all of that. Don't worry about that. Okay. We'll make sure that you transfer your medicines and the important stuff and the like. Does having eyelashes permed affect your wudu? It's typically known as the LVL lash lift, and curls the lashes upwards from the root. I'm getting a cosmetic flipping tutorial here. Curls the lashes upwards from the roots. Last 6 weeks. From my understanding, there's no barrier or coating left on the
stuff that Danish has, man.
Danish's ones. Okay, well, Danish's wudu is absolutely fine. Okay, I checked. Yeah, he's got the natural curly ones. I don't know whether this is natural or not. Right, this chief is so shararati qassam. The tinting lashes, I don't know what tinting is. I know what tinting windows, yeah, and it was because the chief's car's got tinted windows. But tinting on the lashes, if it's applying a layer, the lashes is part of the face. If you want to know how the scholars understand these things about nostrils and about things, whatever, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wash your faces, and the face is the wajh, which is facing. Everything which is facing is the outside. And that's why there's a difference of opinion amongst the mouth and the nose, because that's what's inside. So they said what's inside, right, is not what's facing, which is obvious. Lashes are out and obvious. That's why there's no difference amongst the scholars. Eyebrows, things, this, that, whatever. All of this is on the external. And we will go through this in our wudu tutorials, inshallah, in base camp. But I just want to say that this sounds very suspect, okay? Not knowing too much about it, but it sounds suspect. Last time I went, I took northisterone. My skin broke out into pimples. If I break them, does it break wudu? No, it does not break wudu. Will there be an opportunity to go to Jannatul Baqiyah? Yes, there will be. As a group, don't know. And I tell you why. In Hajj, they are extremely political about it, and they will not. Now, in our Umrah Tarbiyah program, we always go. And when I say we go to a whole different level. We do a video for the sisters. Sisters are not allowed in the graveyards. And we do a guide. We have the Telegram on. Even then, it's super risky. I get arrested once every 3 trips when I go to the graveyard. But in Hajj, it's not possible. So letting you know. But I will be indicating times to go. What is the ruling on Jum'ah for Friday were to fall during the days of Hajj? We will be preparing Jum'ah. But we will be praying Jum'ah either ourselves or in the local masjid or in the gathering, whatever, as relevant. In Azizia, are there people with laundry cards close? Not too bad. Not too far. And absolutely there are laundry services. But I have to tell you that I'm not a fan of the Azizia ones, but you'd be able to get all that done in Mecca very easily before you go to Azizia. But there are plenty. I would like to read the Quran during Tawaf and Sa'i, but due to the crowd, I'm worried about holding Musaf or using my phone. Is it permissible to listen to the Quran and repeat after the reciter? Yes, it is permissible. I'm also not a fan of people using the Quran on the Mataf itself. I don't like that, and you shouldn't. You should be very focused and keeping your hands in front of you keeping your hands, using to make space, you don't want to be having a Musaf in your hands or anything in your hands. Repeating after the reciter is considered as reciting the Quran, and especially for the surahs that you have memorized. But to avoid making mistakes, this is absolutely fine. Okay, my cycle has started earlier than normal. Would doctor recommend that I still take the medication as soon as I'm finished? to avoid any periods around Hajj? Absolutely 100%. Soon as the cycle has finished, or as you are hearing this now, you need to take it immediately. A question regarding halal meat in Saudi. So just for the rest of you folks, you might be thinking, what the hell? Well, actually, there are some of us here that in our group that insist upon the what I want to say is a far more stricter application of the dhabh, and that, yani, without getting into debate, because it's one that is like moonsighting. Nobody's ever going to get happy with HFA versus HMC or whatever it is. So many people are questioning whether the meat in Saudi is halal. That's not correct. Actually, it's a minority of people that follow that position. And whether it's imported or local, of course, all these places say they're halal. That is correct, because they don't understand this argument from all the Pakis outside and all this whatever. But should we be avoiding eating meat? I don't avoid eating the meat. I am strict of the opinion, and I believe that the HMC standards are the ones which are safer and better, but I do consider the other standard to be permissible. But I do not have any doubt over the meat. That's what I am saying. You won't get any certification. You shouldn't be asking. It's against the sunnah to ask in a Muslim country like that anyway. But if a person, it's very simple. If a person doesn't feel, and we do have a few vegetarians in the group, if you do feel that you don't want to take the risk, that you do have a problem with imported meat, there's absolutely no doubt that Saudi imports a lot of meat, especially from Australia and Brazil, and that a lot of it is halal according to the Saudi standards. They do have standards. It's not like in the UK or other countries where we are accepting, or US, I should say, where for us halal, for them, halal does not mean dhabiha. Halal means that it's been done by a Jew or Christian. They have a very different definition, right? So for us, halal means dhabiha. For the Americans, they have halal then dhabiha. For us, we don't have halal or dhabiha. For us, halal means dhabiha, right? So this is a cultural thing as well. The Saudis completely and consider it the same principle as well. Okay, so no, don't be asking people. If you have doubts, then just avoid the meat. But I will not be, and I'll be making sure that we have plenty of meat for everybody. Understood. I saw the udhiyah question, but I'm confused by it. I understand the ihram can be removed even if only the udhiyah has been left. That is correct, and that is my position and the position of the majority of scholars, okay? But not the Hanafi school, and that's why we will set up our Hajj in a way that everyone is taken care of. So even the Hanafi opinion that, and then, of course, in this issue, nobody needs to worry, because if I take my ihram off, you don't need to take your ihram off. And sometimes I don't take my ihram off, by the way. So last year, for example, I went in my ihram, and I sometimes like doing that, because when that day is a very dirty, sweaty, stressful day. So you think to yourself, you know what, I might as well just continue in this. I'm going to stick to it. So, you just go with it, and that's it. So that's what I'm telling you, that you can keep your ihram on or not if you have doubts or not. But for the group purposes, the udhiyah that we will be getting, and we will be in the next few days finalizing, by the way, finalizing the ajwa, finalizing the udhiyah, finalizing the eSIMs. eSIMs, by the way, I sent to get tested, right? Because I didn't want us to be, surprised by, the guys offered all the deals, blah, blah, blah. But then the chief, he said that, no, let's make sure it's getting tested. Problem is that my students who are there that would do the testing, they're going through their exams right now. So they don't have the opportunity to be able to leave their homes and go to like certain key places to see, what the network is like. But so far the results are positive, but I said, no, I want it over a week period, and I want the report back. So once that report comes back as a positive, then we'll have eSIMs for everybody, a link and a discount code and everything. And as for America, Canada, everybody can use that eSIM if your phone is compatible. If you don't have a phone compatible, you'll get a local one over there. But as I said, we do need people to be on the eSIM before you get there, activating it whilst you're in the West and not over there. The udhiyah. So the reason that we will go with someone is someone that we trust, right? Not someone that says that it costs £300 if you ask it for this time and £200 for that time. We can't go for someone who's too big. We want to go for someone who's small, that we can control, that we've got influence over, and that will then tell me personally when they are done. So I just want you to know that you do not need to worry about the haram udhiyah, and I'll explain that over there. So don't worry about that. Udhiyah, also done in another country, does not fulfill the rights of your Hajj. Okay? So do not go do things online, pay online, blah, 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 blah. If you have any problems with your introductions not being shown, then just mention it in the general chat when we open it in a little while. Okay? I'm having northisterone from day 4 of my cycle, and it's been 10 days. I feel itchy on the whole body when I have it, especially on the legs and back. I want you to think I'm sure that you know who you are. I want you to message Dr. Abid, okay? And he will tell you what to do. I understand we are travelers and we should pray qasr in principle. However, when praying behind the Imam al-Haram, do we pray the full 4 fard? Absolutely. When you're in the Haram, you pray exactly what the Imam is praying, all right? And you do not pray any sunnah mu'akkada. So your sunnah mu'akkada, like your 2 rak'ah of Maghrib, it's allowed for you to pray, but it's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to not pray it. Rather, what do you pray? You replace that with 2 or 20, however many you want, of nafil prayer. And of course, many people will be remaining in the masjid between Maghrib and Isha when we're in Aziziyah, in Mina, in whatever. And so you pray nafil. But the sunnah mu'akkada, emphasize sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ never, ever prayed that when he was a traveler. The only sunnah mu'akkada that he prayed was the 2 sunnah of Fajr and the Salatul Witr, which is, that the Hanafi school considered to be wajib anyway. All right. If I use beard oil, because of an itchy beard, can I apply it in the state of ihram if it's unscented? Yes, you can. Personally, I would avoid it. Why? Because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in Sahih Muslim indicates that the Haji is someone whose beard is very dry and dusty. Yani it's meant to look rough. Okay? So I would avoid applying the oil, please. And I just want you to know that the Prophet ﷺ, one of the ways that he, that's because a lot of the oil has a smell to it as well. But Aisha said that we knew that the Prophet ﷺ was out of ihram because he called for the oil to apply to his beard to kind of bring it back to life again. So it's an indication of coming out of ihram. You know what I mean? You don't look your best. We don't want you to be looking your Sunday finest, nice beard and nice oil. No, this is not good. All right? So avoid that. Are the medicines like erythromycin, and prednisolone meant to go in hand luggage or suitcases? They're completely fine in both, no problem. Electronic gear, power banks and electric fans. All power banks and battery packs have to be in your hand luggage, okay? Don't send it in your thing. Printing boarding passes. No, boarding passes will differ from, not just from airline to airline. So the Turkish tickets in Toronto, they have e-tickets, which is different to a boarding pass, right? And the Saudi guys have got e-tickets, which is different to a boarding pass. Some of them will allow you to go online and print your boarding pass beforehand. The majority will not. You'll have to get your boarding pass and your exact ticket, your exact seat at check-in. Anybody that's able to get it beforehand, you got a result. But in principle, you won't get it. That's what we've had previously. Who knows? I have where am I? I took norethistron on the 3rd day of my period. From Isha to Dhuhr, the next day I was clear of any bleeding. And I did ghusl and performed prayers as if not menstruating. Then I checked just before praying Asr, there was some bleeding. My habit is usually 6 days. Yeah. So the problem is that you took your pill on the wrong day. All right? It was not meant to be taken in the period itself. So I think what you need to do, okay, sister, I think you know who you are. Message Dr. Abid, okay? Message Dr. Abid. Please, the rest of you are not taking this as a thing. Only the people that I'm telling you now to message are the people only to message him. It's very important that you don't overwhelm him with every medical concern that you have. That's not right, not fair. Please respect that, okay, folks? But there are certain things that need a bit of education. That's one of them. You stated that when we enter the haram, we make tawaf instead of tahiyatul masjid. That's correct. That's a sunnah, okay? If you arrive for Fajr an hour early, is it preferred to pray tahajjud or make tawaf? Always to pray to make tawaf. Remember, I said in the video, always, when it comes to the haram, tawaf is preferred. Is it permissible? Of course it's permissible to not make tawaf and pray tahajjud. But when you're asking the question, how long? Always tawaf. Always tawaf. Okay? So, but by the way, that doesn't mean that you've got to do tawaf then. You can make a decision to yourself, yeah, you know what, I agree. Tawaf is more important. But now I'm in the tahajjud mode. I'm here 2 hours early. By the way, you won't get to masjid 1 hour early. You will not get into the haram 1 hour early. You're dreaming, okay? And you will see us change this advice when we get there. You'll need to be planning 2 hours early if you want to get inside the masjid. It is supremely busy, okay? So yes, you would go in. knowing I can't go to make tawaf right now, so I'm going to pray tahajjud now, but after Fajr, I'm going to then make tawaf, or that's something permissible as well. But no, the simple question is that priority is tawaf. That's what you get more reward for. However, if you decide not to, zero consequence, okay? Whilst in a state of ihram, are the following actions permissible for hygiene purposes? Using latex gloves in the toilet. It is technically permissible for the male. It is not permissible for a woman. It is technically permissible for a male, but it should be avoided because there are some scholars that don't like it. Okay? Avoid. Using antibacterial hand sanitizer, that's allowed. I don't like it, but it's allowed. No problem with that. Using antibacterial sanitizer that has a fragrance, not allowed. Completely not allowed. All right? Using a face mask in the toilet is allowed. If a person can't breathe, finding it very difficult, smell, blah, 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 then that's allowed. Just want to say here right now, and you hear me repeating this a lot of the time, you're going to make your Hajj really tough if you allow yourself to be affected by these things. The most successful Hujjaj are those that lower themselves to their surroundings. They lower themselves, and when I say lower themselves, they embrace the heat, the sweat, the dirt, the X. The most successful Hujjaj are those say, forget that. Guys, if you're one of these people who has to use toilet paper, right? Has to use toilet paper, you are going to make Hajj so difficult for yourself. That's got nothing to do with Aziziyah. It's got nothing to do with Mina, nothing to do with Arafah, nothing to do with Hajj with AE. That's to do with life. Any person that makes themselves dependent upon worldly comforts and things like that will cause themselves a problem. Always. Because you always need that to work for you. Now, when I say to you that a lot of the toilets do not have flush systems, quality flush systems, and that every time that you use toilet paper, it will block up your toilets. And as a living proof, that's what happened to my one, okay? And especially in Mecca, which has the worst drainage in the world, you have to become used to, not like the rest of the world, not using toilet paper. Now you're like, oh my God, you're dying and you're thinking and getting all nervous. You don't need to. It's tough the first couple of times and then it's piece of cake. How does it work? You use water. And it's got a full blaster. So you blast the absolute life out of it. All right. Clean your backside as best as you can. And then you use your hand. And then after that, you lot are buzzing about it, and you've got absolutely no reason why we're worried. In back home and all the rest of the world, the 95% of the rest of the world, they don't even have soap to use, or let alone unscented soap. You lot are going with buckets of unscented this, unscented that, Mitchum's this, the bloody nature, blah blah, this, that, artisan products, expensive stuff, all kinds of bakwas. You're taking all this stuff. What's your problem? You can apply that shower gel, unscented shower gel, clean your backside with it, absolutely clean as it can possibly get. And the toilet paper now is used to dry your backside. And that clean toilet paper, which is just done drying as opposed to cleaning, feces and whatever, that goes into a bin. You've got to change toilet habit. You've got to change the way that you perceive things, right? You're only going to give yourself more options, create yourself less problems, but that requires a mindset change, right? And this has nothing to do with I'm used to this, or I've got OCD, or I'm blah, 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 blah. Just telling you guys, you've got to, reset everything. In the thingy, combining prayers, you said read the Iqamah. Does that mean we have to read the Iqamah after Dhuhr and before starting Asr, for example? It's a sunnah, okay? A highly emphasized sunnah, correct. I have written all of my du'as and printed them, and also got pocket versions of Fortress of a Muslim. I have collated du'as from friends and family using a short Google form. Will there be sessions on how to improve on du'a making during the few? Yeah, we'll do some more, no problem at all. And related, I'll do some, we'll cover that inshallah. Imodium, are they halal? Yes, they are. But they have gelatin in it. If you bought one, okay, so I meant loperamide. If you buy a brand that has gelatin in it, then that's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. the majority of scholars actually consider it to be permissible, according to the Hanafi concept. Oh, well, it's not Hanafi, but they are very strong on the concept of istihala, the change of state. Okay, so that's certainly something that I would say is no problem. But I want to say to you, bigger than the halal or haram or gelatine argument for me, certainly for me, much bigger than that, is whether you should go anywhere near Imodium. And I want to say it's a horrible medication. You should avoid it like the plague, unless you become clinically sick and you need it, then that's something else. And best recommendation for antidiuretic medication, I don't think you'll be taking that as per course. Doc, are we bringing any furosemide with us or any Lasix or anything? What's the plan, or are we telling anybody? Is there a world where we're telling people to use any diuretics? If Doc's there? Nope, he's not there. Anyway, that's not difficult to get hold of over there if there's a need. But obviously, if the swelling gets serious, then we might consider giving some Lasix or something which is available. I bought an unscented, so don't worry about that, sister. I bought an unscented SP50 and realized it's tinted. I'm sorry, I've got no idea what that means. But we can talk about that in the chat, no problem. There was an error on the Etihad flight. Yes, sorry about that. It was come back to Manchester, but that gave everyone a heart attack. You're going back to Jeddah, flying from Jeddah back to Jeddah. So yeah, you're in the twilight zone. Itinerary is coming out in a couple of days, inshallah, maybe about 4 or 5 days. Blah, blah, blah. The amendment form for my wife, I was filled, my middle name was not on the PDF. Don't worry about that, okay? Middle names are not important when it comes to flight tickets. First name, surname's got to be absolutely right, okay? I'm on flight 4 coming from Blackburn. It says go to Birmingham. No. As I said earlier on, if it actually is easier for you, because flight 3 and 4 are the same flight out, right? And there are a lot of people who are actually around Birmingham, and but we had more tickets than the Birmingham tickets. So the system then put other people in that weren't like, a million miles away. And so, and obviously it turns out that it's more difficult for them to get to Birmingham than it is to get to Manchester. So again, anybody is free to go however they want. And by the way, thank you so much to those people. And I want to say Jazakumullah khair to those that filled in the form, but also Jazakumullah khair to those people who filled in the form and then realized that actually it's better for them to go by themselves, and then messaged in again to say, can you remove me? Can that be a reminder to everybody here that if you are rethinking using the coach, whether that's today or in a few days, please, out of respect and love for the group and everything, send a Q&A form question and saying, guys, we put down for the coach, but we've now got family, or we've got a new plan, or we're going on a holiday. And there's one budgie was like, listen, we want to go on a holiday afterwards. Can we go on a little trip? Thick. Love it. Right? So actually, let me answer that question. Answer is I actually don't know. Answer is I don't know. And I'm sure that you can call it Etihad and try to change it to see whether that's possible. There's possibly a chance. People can do that to their tickets. I've got no idea, but why would we not give it a shot? So anyone, you can use the tickets, no problem at all. Blah blah blah. What is the ideal currency to pay for the Hadi whilst there, and how much? This is actually a really good question, because there will be 3 currencies that the operators only accept: dollars, sterling, and rial. And one of them is definitely going to cost more than the other. All right? One of them definitely is going to cost more than the other. And I will make sure, I like your question. You're a pack like I am. You sick guy. I will find that answer and I will put that down. That this is the currency to focus in, because you're saving exactly 36p. Because that 36p is important, bro. Right? In your experience, how many days is sufficient to pack for as a guy? For the full 18, unless you're asking the wrong guy, bro. You're asking the wrong guy. And you're definitely asking the wrong guy now, who's just got himself 2 bags times 23. Yes, Zindaba. I was getting myself ready for 30 kilos. And then every flight, by the way, all the people who are sitting there, either happy or upset, they've all got a pro or a con, right? So let me check 1 second, one thing that I wanted to, 1 second, the timing. What is the time? How long have we got? Because I've got some time. I've got a session I've got to get done. every flight has a like something going for it or not. What's happened there? Oh, here we are. What's it called? My head's gone. Oh yeah. So some people are going from Manchester and have to do Jeddah. Some people are going to London but coming back to Manchester. Some people are going to London but coming back to Birmingham. It's closer to their thing. Some people have got 30 kilos. Some people got 2 times 26. Some people are going to Medina because of Riyadh but got 5 hours overstay. Some people are going to Jeddah but they get there still 6-7 hours before the other flight does. Every flight has something. So nobody got a perfect result. Everyone thinks some people have got the exact dates that they wanted, very strict coming in and out. By the way, I also want to throw out there that there were a lot of people that were really upset. I just want to put it out there. I know this is a cheap card to play, but let's play it. Let's play it because I'm a cheap guy. People were saying 1 o'clock in the morning, 10th of thingy, that's going to ruin everything. And now most people have got another 8 hours added on, right? Another 8 hours added on. So that actually the most difficult flight for the return, which was the 1 a.m. departure on the 10th of June, has actually now become an 8 o'clock flight and some even later. So some people have to go a day earlier and come back a day later. I'm saying every flight has something wrong with it. Every flight, everyone has to take something for the team along the line. Just try to stay as calm as possible, because I feel many people are putting their reward at risk. What do I mean by that? That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws something at you, you are facing a chance and opportunity. Are you happy with the decree of Allah? Because it wasn't anybody else's choice. You know that. Nobody did this on whatever. And even if they did it intentionally, I just want to throw this out there. There's some people out there who don't understand the concept of sabr, right? That even if some people did it intentionally, right? Some kind of level of incompetence or negligence or lying or whatever, your reaction is being judged according to the context of how and what you are able to do about it. And so therefore, what your reaction is at that time is what will determine your reward. Just want you to know. And we will speak more about that, inshallah, in the right setting. But yeah, when it comes to packing, I never use any laundry surfaces. I'm just going to put it out there. I never, ever, I did it once and it flipping shrunk everything. So that taught me the lesson that I'm never going to do it. Number two, never am I giving it to any of those guys. There's 1,000 Bengalis running that system. And my chaddis didn't come back, yani, the ones that I sent. I'm pretty sure I got somebody else's chaddis back. That yani, traumatized me for my whole life. And I said, no chance. You know, one year, I want to say it was 2023. I don't think it was last year. It was 2023. There was a hilarious thread in our chat of this mixed up items of clothes. And my goodness, the person took the picture of it, isn't it? And stuck it on the group. Bro, flipping madness. People's yani underwear, socks, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's yani even pretending they don't know that's theirs. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm not that guy. I take the clothes with me, right? And I use a lot of t-shirts. Someone was asking a question about, you know, what do you wear for the men? What do you wear underneath? I take like 15 what they call these sweat wicking things, you know, t-shirts underneath, so that it doesn't affect the thobe on top. That's where the common sense is. That way you can wear minimum thobes and shalwar kameez, because you're using and buying t-shirts underneath. And over there, they're very, very cheap. They cost like £2, £3. You know, people end up paying 15, 20 riyals to wash a piece. Yani when you can buy a brand new one for 15 riyals for the t-shirt that you'd wear under your thobe. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that you don't need to take a lot of thobes and a lot of shalwar kameez. Take lots of t-shirts and underwear kind of clothes, and you can buy those over there. When Sa'i's completed, can the muhrim perform their own halaq? Yes, they can. They can, and I will be doing it as well. And this is following Nahar as well for the Hanafis as well, 100%. When are we boarding the coaches? The locations and the times will be adjusted yani, once we start to get a feel. I've already got a team working on the different locations, and some suggestions are coming in on the Q&A form, Jazakumullah khair, as well, about some ideas. So let that play out. Don't worry too much about it. But there are some people that do have a valid reason to ask, because they've paid for long-term parking, right, at Manchester. And so they want to know, should they cancel their thing? No, do not cancel your long-term parking. Keep your long-term parking in Manchester. Worst comes to worst, we'll have a volunteer system where people can do some, pick up and drop offs from wherever you've put your long stay car to wherever the pickup is. But I think it's going to be in Manchester, near Cheadle. You should be assuming near Cheadle, which is near the airport anyway. All right. On that point that Panda mentions, by the way, about laundry liquid, it's always good that someone takes one for the team, right? So you find that there are a couple of people that bring a certain level of, detergent or a box of thingy, and then they just leave it for everybody to use. Normally people buy that over there as well, but if you've got some from here, then that's definitely something to go and let the group use, and then not have to bring it back with you as a sadaqah to the group. Performing wudu, yeah, I'll cover that in base camp, yeah, because people are worried about Muzdalifah. I will deal with that, inshallah. No problems at all. Which terminal in Heathrow with the flight 5 thingy? I think it's terminal 4. You will receive all of that thingy. You will not be able to select seats, by the way. I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to select seats on your Saudi thingy until check-in. Almost definite, but let's see. Are there rulings for a person who is in debt while he goes to Hajj? So I covered that in Wi-Fi at Muzdalifah. I don't even know, Yani, if that's laughing or people Yani taking Mickeys, man. What the fish?
There's no Pani in Muzdalifah, man. They want Wi-Fi, these people, man.
But bro, you
no
know
Wi-Fi
that Wi-Fi is more important to him, yeah, than water. I tell you, 100%.
But you know, it's the when data is there, Chief. You know the times we've had with data over there, Chief. Remember them SIM cards that Zayn going mad, flipping 2 megabytes a second 5 years ago, and then other times there's nothing. But yeah, don't worry about Wi-Fi, man. Don't worry about Wi-Fi.
Debt is simple. Long-term debt, which is either like a mortgage or a repayment for a car or whatever, which is scheduled and goes on regardless, and the people who you're in debt to is something which which is understood, then that is permissible to go to Hajj with. Debt, which is a sum of money that you are using, that you should pay back to somebody else, but you're using it for Hajj instead, and they said to you, like, listen, you owe me 10 grand. And you say, yeah, I'll give it to you. And then you say, actually, you know what? Not really. I'm going to go Hajj. This is not permissible. If a person's waiting for their money to get paid immediately, that person, you need to get permission from. If the person gives you permission, then there's no ruling of debt and Hajj. It's absolutely fine. Can a woman go into the Rawda who's menstruating? I think you should avoid it. These ointments are no problem. Dermal and Fusivet, there's no problem at all. The transport from Jeddah to Medina will not be sorted yet. This will be a constant work all the way until Saturday itself. They will be exhausting every single second until we get there. So there'll be nothing that will be sorted unless it comes up. If a ticket comes up, it'll be bought, plane or whatever. But we should be assuming that they are going to have what they have, which is the coaches. They've got a whole, fleet of coaches. I've seen the fleet. They've got hundreds of coaches. So they'll be there. But they're going to be trying to buy tickets, buying airplane tickets every single day and giving me updates, next week about, what's going on or not. 1 second, guys. Okay. We're moving. We're cooking on gas. Okay. I know that time is moving. Just please bear with me. By the way, we're going to do another session. We are going to do one more extra session, Q&A session, and I'm looking at either Tuesday or Wednesday to cover the rest of the questions as well. Okay. If we don't get through, these, are we able to take our luggage on the train from Jeddah to Mecca? No, you won't be able to. That's a thing. But Al Bayt would then put a thingy on, a truck that will take the luggage. So don't need to worry about that. So this question is really important. I really like this question. I'm from the US and I want to know, you'll get your ticket soon. Don't worry about that. Okay. The US by tomorrow, inshallah. And do the new tickets include Zamzam return? Yes, they do. They do. But I just want to say to you that the Zamzam that they include, okay, meaning the one that Al Bayt pay for, is actually sometimes more of a headache than you just going buying it yourself, because it costs £2, right? And sometimes sitting there and waiting to be given it is like, you know what, for £2, I think I'll just buy it myself and get and check in. So just putting that out there, okay? And yeah, all the luggage and everything will become clear on that. In the case of flight arrangements, can we move around to ensure that a sister doesn't get a middle seat amongst two men, whatever? This is what we're hoping, Yani, the group would recognize. And I hope that all the group would do that. Another question is on the coach. I feel sick. Can I move around? I'm hoping that our group will see that there are certain folks that need to be, you know, so a golden rule. Remember this, everybody. Please, Yani, avoid this. The front of the coach must always be left empty. So the first 2 seats on both sides of a coach, every coach that you get on is out of bounds. So when you get onto a coach, you go past the driver, you've got 2 seats on the left, 2 seats on the right. They are always out of bounds, and you start out after. Nobody at any stages, at any coach, whether it's Mina, Arafah, X, YZ, Uhud, going to Jeddah, going to Medina, going back, never do you use these 2 seats. They are for security, for police, for the guides, for the equipment, and for emergencies. Okay? So always to be kept open. Remember that, please. Other than that, the rest is to be used as you can see. Other than that, I hope that people would be moving around. We're not going to obligate people. We would ask to try to help those that need it, because they might need to be near the window because they feel sick, blah, 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 or they're in a mahram, non-mahram situation. And, there's a husband and the wife scenario, and they, lovey-dovey couple, they're holding hands. We'll say, can you lovey-dovey yourself up in a proper holiday location next year, and now leave the lovey-doveyness, and please, brother, can you go and sit next to this guy and allow the sister to sit next to your wife to avoid the haram. Jazakumullah khair, may Allah give you Jannah and a holiday in Maldives next year. Do we need to do anything when leaving our homes in wherever they are? Is there a prayer or anything like that? No, there's only dua safar, and you will be given that dua safar. The idea that you pray 2 raka'ah and the like, this is not something which is established in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. There's some hadith about that, but they are weak, okay? They are weak. On the day of Arafah, most people in pictures are seen standing. Can we sit and at times do sajda whilst making dua, or are these acts forbidden on this day in this place? And is standing on this day the sunnah, the best position to be in? Yes, standing is a sunnah and the best position. However, it is completely permissible to sit down. It is a bid'ah to make dua in sajda outside of salah. You should not do that. This is wrong, and especially at that time and place as well. All right? Is the first Umrah tawaf that we do after reaching Makkah the same as tawaf qudum? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay? If we can perform the 2 rak'ah salah post-tawaf anywhere at the masjid, how else can we put into action the ayah of take Maqam Ibrahim as a place of prayer? Because there's no other option, right? So when you have the qaida fiqhiyya, the al-amr, the situation, when a situation becomes restricted, it opens. What that means is that when we are restricted to having to pray behind Maqam Ibrahim, and you can't because people are making tawaf, then it starts to spread, and the ruling now applies. There's a consensus on this opinion, by the way. The scholars have all allowed that if it was empty, of course you'd then pray behind it, because it's not empty and other people are being put into, you're doing something which is impermissible, which is praying in the way of people, then you go and follow the ruling of praying in the rest of the masjid. If I am doing Hajj alone, do I need to do a qurbani back home? No, you don't, but it's good to do so, okay? It is good to do so. Is the one that you do in Makkah sufficient for your wife and kids as their qurbani? Answer is no, because the udhiyah that you do in Makkah is something for you, only for your Hajj right, only. All right. And by the way, you are not doing something which is for your Hajj, for your kids and family or your wife. You're doing only one small share as well. That's important, which is like a sheep or 1/7 of a cow. The qurbani that if you have the wealth, you should do somewhere else in a place that's needed, and that can be done on behalf of your family. A muhrim can trim his mustache if it grows over his lips because it falls in the category of cleanliness. I did say that is correct, but I would ask you to avoid that. And no, trimming the nails does not fall into that category, because you are obligated to ensure that your nails and your mustache are not like that before you enter into ihram. So you should be thinking that I want to try to avoid that before I even get into that kind of situation. Okay? And I'm going to take just one more question. Okay? And the rest I'm going to... no, there's 2 questions actually I'm going to answer here. Right? And then the rest I'm going to deal with either on Tuesday And thinking now I'm going to allow some people to take the microphone because you might have some comments or something like that. I have my review. I've got a work thing that I've got to do on the 10th of June at 5:50 Saudi time. I was expecting to be home, but my flight has changed and I will be in Mecca, like proper. Would it be possible on this day for me to get access to a laptop and somewhere quiet to attend this on Teams without having to bring my own for the whole trip? I will join on my phone, but I need to have a computer to log into a portal and sign some documents. I will try to work that out for you. Okay? Oops, astaghfirullah. I will try to work that out for you. I will get back to you on that. Astaghfirullah. What is this? Right. The question here is, you mentioned during the seminar that those on the A2410 will have no guide until landing in Medina. No, they will have a guide going with the flight, okay, meaning that you won't be left alone. And then obviously the team will be in Medina before you come. When will the ID cards and luggage tags be supplied for you? It will be supplied at the airport, at Manchester Airport, inshallah. Am I to assume there's no issues with the Saudi flight under the same package? Yes, you are right. No problem there at all. All right, that's it. We will now take questions online, folks. Okay, so who's here?
I've got a question, Chief, please.
Go on.
If there's anybody that's not had their vaccine already, needs to contact me today, please, because I've had a few people come across.
Serious. Okay, we're going to cuss someone, throw someone under the bus. Yeah? Okay.
I am going to throw somebody on the bus, but if you're not had your vaccine, message, man. Message, please.
Okay, you heard that, right? If you've not done your vaccine, then message the chief. Wididims, are you doing this or not? Okay.
Sorry,
all right.
I'm so sorry. I am in public and I forgot my earphones. So
that's fine. I'll deal with it. That's fine. All right, guys. Anyone that wants to speak, put your hands up. And I will try to see you. Okay, this is not working. I can't see anybody's hands up. If anybody from the team can see someone's hands up, then
I can see these, Chief. Shahan.
Go ahead, Shahan. Unmute him.
Go ahead. Shahan, go ahead.
Go ahead, Shahan. We can't hear you, bro. Yeah, Shahan.
Samir Zaman. Samir Zaman.
Samir, yeah, go ahead.
Speak up, Russ.
Jazakallah khair for sorting the Manchester flights. It's kind of a non-issue, but given that we've got travel insurance, I'm coming from Glasgow and had organised kind of travel to Manchester. Is there anything we can get kind of for documentation to apply for to get that reimbursed almost to the travel insurance company?
Yeah. I get your question, and that's a really good question. And can you do me a favor? Can you put that on the question Q&A form? Okay. And say documents requested, capitals at the beginning of the question, so it sticks out, and then exactly write all of that, and then I will then pursue Al-Bayt for that. It's a good point, that. Go on, Chief. Keep unmuting people.
Fadil Fawzi.
Salams, Sheikh. I'm also following on from Samir. Can I go ahead and book my flights to London, even though we're going to get the tickets?
Yes, 100%. It's done now. All of the flights, if you've been spoken to or seen it, whatnot, is done.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feek.
Abid Hussain, go ahead. Abid, speak, please.
So, Chief, just get yourself a list of people, that you know. Keep your hands up, folks. There's something that I forgot to say, right? This is really silly of me, actually, because I got so caught up in the questions. And that is, what is the most important thing to do right now? Okay. How does the last week go? Well, first of all, the chat's going to be open, so I'm going to be speaking now regularly, and we're going to be back and forth. So, now you got, everything's back to normal, so you don't need to worry too much. But let me say this. Now we dial it back. There's no, your physical activity has got to be really minimal, right? Minimal meaning you cannot take any risks. No pushing yourself, no getting yourself blisters, no whatever. This is what you're meant to be doing 3 months ago. So the fitness is now you're not going to become fit in a week, right? I know it's great weather. You're going to be tempted, but it's not going to work. So, so I want you to just hold back on that. Be careful that you don't push yourselves. I know that sounds contradictory. This week we can't take any risks. Instead, This is about now visualization, manifesting now where and what's about to happen, that you need to improve. I want everybody to think about everything that's happened in the last few weeks, not just Manchester in the last couple of days, but the last few weeks that's made you upset, made you angry, made you lose patience, made you get frustrated, whatever it is, and ask yourself, is that where I want to be after Hajj as a person? And can I now pinpoint the various characteristics that I have as a person and see whether I'm proud of that? Would I put that forward if I'm writing something positive about myself, that this is a positive thing or not? You should know that everybody's got to have a target to be better, to be more accomplished in everything across the board. So this is what you want to be doing now. Starting really thinking about yourself. Also, I want you to now start reaching out to the family and dua requests, because this is where your dua start to come together now. So not just the various things that you're going to need to, the dua research that I asked you guys to do, all of that across the board, now is the key time for that. I need to get rid of Abid Hussein here because he's just won't mute
Sorry,
himself.
I'm here.
I know you're here. That's the problem. Yeah. So
He's a masjid, bro. He's a masjid. Come on, man.
let me just answer him, and then I'll finish the other point that I wanted to say. Abid, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. My
Salam.
wife usually gets ill, but she's not being able to get the medication.
Right.
Is there any way of being to get the antibiotics still, or will there be some provided there just in case she needs it?
Right. If it's a just in case situation and she was not able to get it, then inshallah, the whatever we are able to do, we will try to do. But you're saying she's not able to get an appointment in the next week to be able to get the antibiotics?
No, I had the appointment
She had the appointment and then the doctors refused.
to give her.
Right. Okay. So let's then just, we'll have to deal with it then. We'll just have to deal with it. One way or the other, we'll have to get whatever we can get, inshallah.
Anybody who could not get the medication, just don't worry about it. We have got enough medication with ourselves. Just there's no need to worry. Just
Okay. Abid? Barakallahu feek. Right. So guys, there's one question here which, subhanallah, is so good, right? And I really felt it. And I'm going to read it out and I want you to listen. I felt prepared months ago, and now it feels like the time has flown by, and suddenly I am feeling totally unprepared, and my spirituality is declining. Is this normal? Can you advise? And I can tell you right now that there's another 500 people that are asking that same question. And if you're not, then you are not thinking about this the right way. This is absolutely a fear that everybody should have. Am I ready? Am I not? What's happening? And a lot of people will be, as I said, in this kind of scenario. I want to say to you right now, this is a fantastic place to be in. This is completely normal that you're starting to become super nervous, that you're now convinced you've not done enough, whatever. And this is the exact moment that I step in and say, you have done more, even in your nothingness, than 99% of everybody else going to Hajj. They haven't even looked at a list that has 26 videos, let alone press play on a list of one of those 26 videos. They have not even, they've not even seen what a webinar is, let alone gone and been tortured through 20, 30 of them, right? You are in the right place, the right time. I've spoken so many times about leverage, right? A person is going to go into this Hajj program, whatever their level. I know some wives are very stressed out about how disengaged their husbands have been. You can't change that. I can't change that. Nobody can change that. Let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do his thing. Let them come to the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ and let the ambience do its thing. Let them see the Kaaba. Let them feel. Let them whatever little that will happen now is down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We tried our best. I know that I can't do any more than what I've done. I know that. Yeah, I know that. And I'm pretty confident that the vast majority of the people in this group could not have done more than what they have done. You have, I don't want to keep praising people, but I counted today. I know that this sounds bad. My standards must be lowering, but 455 introductions, which you've got two ways of looking at it, right? That I got slapped in the face by 90 people, not 90, 79 people that said, forget you, mate, we don't care about you. Or that's an incredible result of people that took seriously something that I wanted personally, nothing to do with their Hajj, nothing to do with the logistics, nothing that's going to make their life easier, but allows me to be able to invest in you and see if you take this seriously or not. I would love for those people who have not done an introduction yet to please do one, all right? Please do an introduction. The introduction tab is there. You can read the rest of the other groups, and you can write your own as well. And I would like you to write your own. But if you didn't, then you got your own reasons. For the rest of the 455 people who wrote that, I appreciate you. And I swear to you that you just writing that has made you more prepared for Hajj than vast majority of other people. People who have actually, I want you to know that when people put their thoughts and feelings into writing, they are doing what the vast majority of people don't do. It's not the norm to articulate your vulnerabilities, your journeys, your embarrassing things about yourself, or you don't want other people to know about your desires and I want this, I want that, I want Jannah. People don't normally do that. People don't normally open up at that, and then in front of strangers as well. This is opening yourself up in front of people. And if you can open yourself up in front of people, what do you think will happen in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I'm telling you, there's always a reason why I make people do this. I want people to confront their vulnerabilities and to embrace them. And when you can do it in front of people, you are going to be in the prime position to do that in the most holiest and the most special and most blessed places on this planet. So I just want you to know, to all those folks that are worried about, they've not done enough. They're worried that they're losing steam. That is natural. But we got you. You've got nothing to worry about. This is going to be something that is going to be fantastic. The group is fantastic. The dynamic is fantastic. We've got roller coaster ride to come. We've had a little hiccup here with the flights, whatever. Some people got a massive result. They're buzzing over it. London is like, mashallah, mashallah. The rest of us are like flipping London bakwas and a coach, whatever, bakwas, whatever. We're going to have to eat this and drink that. We're making our plans. It is what it is. Qaddar Allah ma sha fa'al. There's a reason that statement exists. We're going to embrace everything and the real big headaches that are going to come. And as I said to you before, it's always the movements and the check-ins and the check-outs. They're a nightmare. And there's 5-6 of them to come. We have had a little taster. Let's get ourselves ready. We're going to call it now, guys, because this is 90 minutes now. And the chat's open. But again, avoid asking too much of the technical stuff in the chat. Or maybe do it. And if it gets ignored, don't take it personally. But the Q&A form is there for that. Please use it if you feel that thingy, but please be fair as well. Don't be asking questions on the form and being lazy and not having covered the material. I want to say to you that it is a condition that to ask a question on the form, you have to watch all the videos. I want to say it. I'm embarrassed to apply it, but I am getting to that place where I'm going to insist. So please watch the resources and then deal with, and then ask the questions if you need, if need be. We will have another session. I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday. No DMs to the people, please. No DMs to the team. Chat's there. Let's keep that going, and we'll only close it for small parts. I need to reduce some pressure on the system. And is there anything else? Tickets, everybody will be receiving. Americans will definitely receive their tickets by tomorrow. Okay, e-ticket numbers, and the rest of us, I'm assuming Monday or Tuesday by email. Don't be messaging. Relax. And otherwise, I think everything is going okay. Actually. Everybody's got their visas, alhamdulillah. Good news. Widad was the very last person, mashallah, the very last person. And we had one from one of the families. They received theirs as well just 2 days ago. Nobody got theirs rejected. Do you remember the fear that we had and everything, right? So everyone's got through. We had a few immigration issues, whatever, some people. We found a solution to that as well. I have to tell you, things minus this Manchester flight thing and a way that has ended up, very happy with that as well. I know that everyone's going to go through some headaches, but I also know that, and albeit, by the way, I just wanted to tell you something else, by the way, and if people are interested in this, then put it in the chat, okay? Albeit are taking this very, very seriously with Turkish Airlines, and they are more than willing, and they said that for all of the Manchester flight, all 200 people, they're willing to do a private webinar to explain exactly what happened, right? And they explained to me, and they said exactly what happened, and I'll say it now. Here's what happened. The Turks, they offer out flights. Albeit went and said, this is the dates, this is the thingy, this is the number, and they bought them. They're given the PNRs, they paid for the tickets. What had the Turks done, which is something common in the flight industry, is that before they get the actual capacity licensed from the departing airport, Dhaka, which is the Jeddah Aviation Authority, whatever it's called, they had already sold the tickets. Right now, what's normally meant to happen? The Dhaka will then say to Turkish Airlines, "We're giving you 25 slots on the 10th of June, 25 on the thingy, and whatever." And every airline, just like I think everybody knows that they overbook flights, right? So they know that if there's 300 seats, they will always sell 330 because over the years they know that there's normally 20-30 people that don't make their flight, they cancel, they can't make it, they get ill, they're too late and whatever. And so on average they do it. And they know that if 330 people turn up, what are they going to do? They're going to offer 30 people £1,000, very generous kind of thingy, another flight the next day, compensation, and they're willing to do that because they know that overall over the year they make money out of this rather than lose money. So overbooking is a norm. All right. If overbooking is a norm, and that is something that they do, I want you to know that another thing that they do is that they take on bookings and payments for flights that don't actually exist in a system, knowing that they put a disclaimer out. What's that disclaimer? That a Hajj flight has the right to be going 1 to 2 days earlier and 1 to 2 days after. That's actually in the Nusuk contract. And that's the reason why we go very big on that messaging, that you have to accept that. And a day before the flight itself, it's allowed for them under their Nusuk contract to change the flight. So they have this little card they keep in the back pocket in case what happens. What did happen? Saudi Arabia, the authority said, you've only got this much. You've only got like 12 or 16 slots. And so what did Turkish do? Instead of honoring ours on it, they prioritized the ones of their customers from Turkey. And as a result, they honored the PNRs of the numbers that they could do, saw that they couldn't fill the capacity left or right 1 or 2 days, whatever. And so they canceled the PNRs. And that's what happened. Nobody should let them get away with it. Nobody can do anything against them. Let me make it very clear. You can complain as much as you want. Al-Bayt can complain as much as they want. Nothing will happen. They have to continue relying upon them. They've already bought, I don't know, I want to say 6,000 tickets for Europe, for Canada, for America, for whatever, whatnot. Business continues, and that's how it works. They won't be able to punish them. We won't be able to punish them. But should we complain? Yes. Do we understand? Yes. But that's the facts on the that's the facts on the ground. Now, Al-Bayt said that they want to do a webinar in which they present this and explain that what they're going to do in terms of Jeddah. If you want that and you want that to be thingy, I've got to tell you that I do not have time for that thingy because I know it already. But if you want, they are more than willing to do it. Okay. And then we just got to agree then a time and a date. They've already told me that they're going to do everything to put flights and trains on and take the financial hit, which they have. And by the way, significant financial hit for them. But it is what it is. It's their business. Like I said, they made plenty of money. I don't care how much they spend to try to get us out of it. That's now said. Don't think there's anything else. Maghrib is upon us, guys. Jazakumullah khair. We will have another Q&A session. And into the chat we go. Barakallahu fikum. Subhanakallahu wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka Allahumma wa atubu ilaik. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you everybody for tuning in.